see like any insect or cockroach on the floor, please let's pick it up. You see those black tissue germs.
For where?
They can put outside there. What's annoying people?
Oh, good afternoon, rather. But if you let me, I'd rather be in bed all day. But here we are. You can't afford to be in bed all day. Unfortunately. So let's try to show up as much as we can. Hi, good morning. How come? Welcome to Friday work from home. Yes, I am. Brushing my feet. So I'm just about to start my day. Well, I already started. I already started earlier, but I was in my bed. But right now, I decided to be up. Good morning, or better still, good afternoon. If you are in the WAT time zone. Hi, Moseli. Good morning. How are you doing? Where are you joining us from? I'm currently live from Lagos, Nigeria. And this is our usual Friday work from home session. Okay, I think Nelson. Nelson says, hey Jenn, you know of any current opportunities? There are a lot of opportunities, of course. There are a lot of opportunities on the internet. You just need to know how to take advantage of them, but there are a lot of opportunities. Yeah. Hi everybody, good morning. If it's the first time seeing my face, hi, my name is Jenn. I work from home. I'm a YouTuber. I create content around work from home, becoming a virtual assistant, being a freelancer, making money online generally. and I usually host a work from home session Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and this is the Friday session. I also host a masterclass, Saturday school every Saturday. So tomorrow is another Saturday school. I'm so excited about that. Tomorrow is another Saturday school, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to learn anything with AI. How to teach yourself anything with AI. We're currently in the age where you have to learn things. Like, you have to learn if you want to grow, if you want to make money, if you want to be the best version of yourself. You have to learn. You have to be learning skills all the time, whether soft skills or hard skills. And if you don't have a budget for that, you can still learn by using AI. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to use AI to teach yourself those skills. And it is happening by 4 p.m. West African time, live on my YouTube. So make sure that you are subscribed. If you are not subscribed, turn on post notification. If you go to my live session right now, you'll see the flyer. So just click on notify me and you get notified when we come live. Hi Chidima, thank you so much for joining. Life's good, thank you. Sydney Paul, thank you so much for joining. Nelson, thank you so much for joining. Museli, thank you so much for joining. If you join, please just drop a message in the comment section so that I can give you a shout out. I'm really excited that you tried to take a few moments to be here. The goal of sessions like this, aside from me working, is if you have questions, you can ask me. If you have questions about work from home, about freelancing, if there's any of my video you've watched and you want to if there's any of my videos you've watched and you want to ask me questions about it, please feel free. Rosali said, you seem to have pronounced my name so well, now I'm hooked. Yeah, okay, let me tell you why I can pronounce your name so well. I grew up in Benin. I grew up in a Kenya barrack, and I think I had a friend, okay, not a friend, yeah, I would say he was my friend in primary school. His name was Museli, so yeah, of course. Hi Francisca, hello, thank you so much. Hi Lizzie. Sorry, I didn't see you. That's why I'm saying that you should drop a message in the comment section so that I can see you and I can give you a shout out. Hi Lizzie, thank you so much for joining. I think we met last week Friday, right? So I'm excited that we're here. I usually these live sessions begin by 10 a.m. But every Friday, last Friday we started by 12. Today we started by 12, and I'm meeting a lot more new people. So I'm thinking maybe Fridays should be from 12 p.m. What do you think? Let me know. When do you think you are usually available to join sessions like this on Fridays? So I can just move Fridays to 12 p.m. Yeah. Okay. Remote job is obviously the way here from Zara. Yeah, so remote job is the way. Like, imagine this is what 12:11. I woke up, I work a full-time job, right? I have clients I work with full-time, and I woke up by 11:30. I woke up by 11:30. I was in bed while I was doing some quick stuff, and I just stood up right now to start freshening up. I just brushed my teeth. I'm in the bedroom right now. I'll go to the kitchen now to make tea to drink. There's no way I would have been able to do that if I were not working remotely. Imagine if I were working a physical job and I live in Lagos. So working a physical job in Lagos, waking up by 11:30, they would have sacked me now. They would have sacked me like mad. So yeah, working remotely makes sense. Okay, Liz, anytime I see you online, I'm hooked. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if you have questions about working remotely, how to land clients, skills, like anything you have, even if it has to do with soft skills, like see you get scared when you want to apply or just anything, just ask me. If you have questions, just ask me. But I'm so excited, and I also want to thank you guys so much. We are almost at 6,000 followers. Guys, do you know that when I started coming live 4 weeks ago, right? I started coming live 4 weeks ago. I started posting consistently on YouTube 4 weeks ago. And at that time, I think I was at 4K followers. I keep saying followers, God, 4K subscribers. But 4 weeks later, I'm almost at 6,000 subscribers. Like, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for your support, for watching my videos, for liking, for commenting, for sharing. It is those your likes and comments and shares that is making you to push my videos to more people, and also for joining my live and engaging. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you guys. Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait for us to get to 10K. When we get to 10K, oh my god, I'll be so excited. And some things I'm planning for when we get to 10K subscribers. I'm going to do a get to know me video. Yeah, I'm going to do a get to know me video. I'm also going to do ask me anything video. So all the questions you ask me, instead of me just answering it on live, I would record everything in a video as well, and I would post it. Then another thing I'm considering doing as well. Oh, I've lost my train of thought. I've lost my train of thought. But those were the few things I had in mind. And one other thing that I've forgotten so far. So a get ready with me. It's not get ready with me, sorry. A get to know me. Get to know me. Ask me anything. Then I'll most likely do a spend the week with me vlog. I'll try to do a vlog. The last video I made about raising money to get my 2-bedroom apartment in Lagos, Nigeria, 5.5 million. A lot of people have been asking me to do a vlog about the parlor because I'm setting up the parlor. So it lets me know that okay, maybe vlogs are something that you guys will be interested in. So I'm thinking of a spend the week with me vlog, spend the weekend with me vlog, attend a meeting with me vlog, attend the call with me vlog, work with me strategy sessions, like all those things, just so that you see. Because it's one thing for me to tell you what to do, right? It's another thing for you to see me doing it. I don't know about other people, but me, I learn a lot better if I see other people doing it. So that is why I'm thinking of that. But you can let me know what you think as well in the comment section. Okay, I'm done from the bathroom, so I'm just going to go outside. I need to get to the kitchen. Oopsie. Let us go. At this point, I'm carrying you guys everywhere. Let's first go to the kitchen. Let's just go to the kitchen and make tea, or should I do coffee instead? My coffee is remaining small. If not, I would have loved to do coffee. Let's see. Then after that, I'll probably just journal a little. Then I have a book I'm reading that I want to finish. It's remaining how many pages? 40. It's remaining 56 pages, so I want to finish reading it today so I can start a new one, because I am very excited about the new one that I need to start. So I want to make tea. Let me know where you're joining from. When you join in, let me know so that I can give you a shout out. I need to step out. Gonna make coffee. Like coffee is very just one. chocolate in here. And this is my favorite spoon. This is my favorite spoon. I'm just going to wait for the water to heat up. And then we'll make the coffee and we head back. I think I will just go to the living room instead of back to the parlor. Sorry, instead of back to the bedroom. Yeah. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I have a lot of things to do today. I do have a lot of things. I'm going to finish my book before I get started with anything. Hello. Good morning. Thank you for joining. What's the name of the book you're reading? Oh, the name of the book I'm reading is Discipline is Destiny. I'm going to show you soon. I'm going to show you soon once my water is hot. But I think I posted about it on my post segment, community post segment. Hi, Ola Adegalu. I hope I pronounced your name well. The book I'm reading is quite interesting. Pretty interesting. Let me know where you're joining us from, guys. I am at Lagos, Nigeria. I think my water is hot now. I wish it was 2, not 1. Okay. Smells like actual coffee. Okay. So let me check the parlor or to the bedroom. I think I should go to the parlor so I can sit down. Yeah. So I can sit. It's now dark. Don't worry, I'm going to turn on the lights. So it's better now. Okay, I'm going to show you the book shortly. Let me just. So I have a table that I work from in the parlor. This is supposed to be like my mini dining set, but I've not set up my dining, so I'm just using this table I used to have in the balcony of my former house. But this is like the dining area. Oh my god, what the hell? So I'm trying to set it up. Let's go and bring my laptop. and the book that I was reading. So guys, give me a few minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back. I'm back. I need to clean this water on the table. These are all the books I have in line to read. I'm so excited about them. Now let me show you. Let me move you here first of all. Yeah. Okay. So, this is the book I'm reading. If you see what's left of the book, like this. So these are the pages left for me. I finished reading all of this. I finished reading all this. So it's remaining just, I think, 56 pages. I'll be done within an hour or less. But this is it. Discipline is destiny. I don't know if you can say it. Afterwards, I want to read these two together. Do you know why? This book, I love it so much because of the author, Ryan Holiday. His writing is amazing. It is short, it is straight to the point. It is like a reminder for what you're supposed to be doing if you're trying to change your life. And I love his writing. I've decided that, you know what, all of his books, I'm going to read it. So this is actually from him. And he says ego is the enemy. So I know that there are a lot of things I'm going to learn from it, because I believe that sometimes ego is controlling us, but we don't know, because we have the interpretation of ego we have is not all it is. Honestly, I feel like ego comes in different ways. So I believe that this book is going to open my eyes to it. Then I want to read this alongside as well, majorly because it talks about the 10 times rule. That means it talks about working hard. Like, I have some goals I'm trying to hit, and it's going to help me understand better on the kind of work I'm supposed to do. I am a very big believer of working hard. Honestly, I'm a very big believer of working hard and working for what you want. And so every book that preach about that or talk about the best way to go about it, I like to read it. So that's why I'm going to be reading this two alongside. And who knows, I most likely can finish one before the end of the month, or at least in the next 2 weeks. Since there are two, maybe in the next 2 weeks I should be done. But I want to read so much. I feel like the world has so many books. The world has so many knowledge through people that have written books, people that have, done a lot of work, and I want to consume all those knowledge from those people, because Honestly, I feel like knowledge is the only thing you really have. When you have money, you give money and it goes. But if you have knowledge, even when you give the knowledge to people, it still stays. And that's why I love reading so much. So I want to quickly check if I have any work before I get started. So this is my vision board for the year rather. This is my vision board. I don't know if you can see it very well, but I have buying a 17 Pro Max phone here, and I already got it. I have a DJI camera here. I've not got it. Hopefully I will buy that by the end of the year or before the end of the year. But I want to get monetized on YouTube so that YouTube will actually be the one to buy that camera. That's why I've not gotten it yet. I have brand partnerships here, has not been done. I have 365 days of YouTube videos. Well, I'm back at it now. I have community events. I have becoming a reader. This is one of my favorite achievements so far, becoming a reader, which I have become a reader now. I have continued to make money in dollars, which I have continued to make money in dollars. I have building my personal brand, which I am doing currently. I have 75 day hard. I have not started my 75 days hard challenge, but oh well. I have getting like certifications. I have like so many things. Anyways, maybe I don't know, I'll most likely do a video on updates on my vision board for the year, and we can see that. But let me know, do you have vision boards? You know what a vision board is, right? Hi Lizzie. Lisa. I called you Lizzie. Hi Lisa, welcome. How are you doing? How's work going? Hi Rosary, thank you so much for joining. Lisa, welcome. I was talking about the book that I'm currently reading, book that I've fallen in love with lately. I don't know if you got that, if you caught it. Let me know if you caught it or if you want me to like go over them again. Excuse me. Okay, nothing that needs my urgent attention at work. Let me see. I know what. Okay, great. All right, good. You know what a vision board is. So, do you have a vision board? Do you have a vision board? If you don't have a vision board, you can actually make one. This is what, the 7th month. So this is the beginning of the last half of the year. So if you don't have a vision board, you can actually create one. Or maybe you created one before and you were not paying attention to it. Now, let me tell you the reason why I'm advising you to create a vision board, right? This vision board, I created it since January. I think January. January. I created it since January. And guess what? A lot of things on my vision board, I did not start it until last month. A lot of things there. I didn't start it last month. And guess what? How I started it was not like I planned that I was going to start it. I just automatically started it. And I think that is one of the benefits of having a vision board. If you have a vision board that you are looking at every day, so my vision board is on my laptop. So every time I open my laptop, my mind is consuming the vision board. Please, one of that water. Yeah. Every time I open my laptop, my mind is consuming that vision board every day. So whether I'm consciously looking at it or subconsciously looking at it, it is just, I don't know, I think it is giving a signal. It is just giving a signal. And that's something that has happened to me for a while, like a really long time even. Every time I plan to do something, I set a goal. As long as I put it where I can see it, even if I don't start pursuing that goal immediately, over time, I would actually start pursuing that goal. And sometimes it's not like I planned to do it, but it just automatically starts going for me because my mind has consumed enough to know that it is supposed to be working and doing all of those things. So if you don't have a vision board, I would advise you to create one. If you had one and you stopped paying attention to it because you didn't think you were being serious or you didn't think you were doing the things you're supposed to do, no problem. Still create another one or go back to it. Just put it where you can see it. Before the end of the year, I promise you, if let's say what you have on your vision board is 5 things or 7 things, you will do at least 1 or 2 things. Yeah. Oh no, you have to read a lot, Lisa. Lisa, you have to definitely have to read a lot. Alex marry Eve. Why does she not have anything of marry Eve? I don't understand. So you have to read a lot. That is how you learn some things that you even apply to your client's work. Marry. Today is even marries. I do more of soft copy book. Oh yeah, soft copy book is good as well. Soft copy book is good. It's good. I like hard copy just so that I can write in it. Like I can write in it and I can color in it. So I color a lot. So see this, see another one. I like to draw the things that I like so that if I were to carry the book anytime, even after reading it for a while, I will just open it and I'll see all the things that meant a lot to me when I read it. So that's why. But soft copy is good as well. I feel like if I read soft copy, I'll just sleep. I'll just sleep off. I really admire people that are able to read soft copy books. I sleep off. But let's see. So my accounting client has asked me to help them with social media marketing for their accounting firm. She said I've never done it. I honestly do not know why clients do that. Instead of going to hire somebody new, they want to like give you more task to what they already have given you. Well, I said they want you to do basic stuff, honestly. If not, yeah, I can give you tips how you can use AI to go about that. But the problem is they will still want certain kind of results. And I don't see how you can give those kind of results if you have not learned it before, if you don't understand strategy and all that. So that is it. But anyways, if you want to use AI to do that, one tip I'll give you is tomorrow our class, don't worry. Tomorrow is Saturday school, and we're going to be talking about how to teach yourself anything using AI. So we'll most likely partly talk about that. But just to answer your question right now, if you want to use AI, just open a fresh thread, a new chat, whether on ChatGPT or Claude. Let the thread know about your client, what they do, their services, what their social media account looks like, all of that. Then also the goals that your clients have, what your clients want to achieve with the account. Then you can now tell it to create a strategy for you, a content strategy for you. Then tell it to create a content calendar for you. And once you have those content calendar, you now tell it to guide you to create the content that is going to be going live on the pages for you. So again, these things are like easy to say, but if you don't have like the behind the scene knowledge, if you don't have the knowledge already, it's maybe a little bit confusing, because AI can just give you anything and everything without you being sure if it is correct or not. But yeah, this is one way I'll tell you. Just go over everything about the client with AI. Let it know what the goals are, what the business is about, where you want to post for them, and it will give you something. Then AI also is now able to design for you as well. I have this client that has been so obsessed with using Claude to design his content. Oh my god. Like, he wants us to use Claude to design his content. He wants us to use Claude to generate the videos, and it's just been so tiring. But yeah, I'll most likely do a video tutorial on how to do that. There's so many contents for me to create, man. So freaking much content. Now I understand why people become full-time content creators, because it's not easy to do this while also doing your job. Gosh. I'm noting down the video idea I had just now. Okay, I'm gonna try and I'll do this. If you have endometriosis, you've had excision strategy and you're still in pain, read this. Okay. I'm saying carousel. Ready to be published. Upload dates. I would say that this, let me just move all these things to published, because I have an Idoma friend with that name. Which name? Okay, Idoko, I guess. I mean, not Idoma, Amigala. Hi, Chime. I'm Idoma. Sorry, Amigala, not Idoma. Lizzie, I didn't have to finish my last Saturday's assignment before I got my first. Oh my God, are you serious? Lizzie! Oh my days, I need to take... Oh my days. You've gotten your first Nigerian client. Oh, tell me the gist. Give me the gist in the comments. What? Oh my God, I'm so excited. Congrats. Guys, Saturday school is working. Saturday school is working. As long as you do your assignment, as long as you pay attention, it's going to work. Like when I tell you guys that I'm teaching you exactly what I would actually even teach you if you paid me. That's what I mean. Like, I'm teaching you. So, like, take advantage of it. Honestly, just take advantage. But I'm so proud of you, Lizzie. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Congrats, 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 congrats. Yeah, today the podcast has gone out. Oh, yeah, of course. But from being unpaid, it becomes paid. Once you do a good job for them, it gets to when they start paying you, because they now know that, okay, you can actually give them results, or you can give them value. So please take it seriously, okay? But that's so good. You pitch to them, I guess. And perfume and cosmetics business, they actually have a huge audience and they can make a lot of money. So that means that they can pay you as well. Oh, coffee to boost my system. Hi, Nick. Ooh, hi, Nick. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing? Where are you joining us from? I am streaming from Lagos, Nigeria. Let me know where you're joining us from. I saw your email, by the way, so I'm going to respond. But if you want to ask me the questions here, feel free to ask me. If you have questions you want to ask me, feel free to ask the questions. We're all doing amazingly well. Well done, guys. Okay. Joining from Oka. Oh, nice. Welcome. Thank you. Liz says, to make it official, I prepared an onboarding guide and content calendar for approval. Ooh, that's so nice. Welcome. That's so nice. Well done. That's a good one, because you want to show that you are professional. How many days is this unpaid work for? How many days did you guys do it? How many days did you agree that it was going to be unpaid for before it becomes a paid thing? Three months. Okay. All right. Perfect. Please do a very good job of, okay? Do a very good job. Show up like she's paying you. Show up very well, and it's going to eventually make sense. This is. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the numbers. Completely amazed. From June 26th to July 23. Amazed at the numbers, honestly. Mm. July, this July. No, I don't want to put my gaze on that. I want to put my gaze on maybe 90 days. I still wouldn't have even hit it yet. Okay, let's see how that goes. Let's put our gaze on this particular number. Also, I'm a video editor and I want to become a virtual assistant video. Oh yeah, it's very possible. I think, was it not, Lizzie, was it not last week's Friday we talked about it? How you can be a video editor. I don't know if you joined the last work with me session. But yeah, you can do that. You can apply to work with people that are already video editors. Perfect. People that are already video editors, you can apply to work with them. People that are content creators, like top content creators, you can apply to work with them. Business owners that create video content, you can apply to work with them. So yeah, it's possible. And my advice for you, Nick, especially if maybe you are just starting out and maybe you are good at what you do, but not like industry standard, what you can do is reach out to maybe small creators to work with them. So, excuse me, I always advise this intense strategy where you apply to work with somebody for free and they give you the job. That's what Lizzie did. So apply to work with somebody for free, they give you the job, you do it, and after a while you propose to them that, okay, well, you are done with your internship, you like for them to retain you. If they retain you, good. If not, they most likely will retain you, especially if you did a good job. So the goal of that your free work period is to show them what they will miss if they don't keep you. That's why you're going to be doing like such amazing jobs for them. So yeah. How nice. How nice. Simply a grateful girl. You guys should not forget that tomorrow is our Saturday school. Tomorrow is Saturday school, and we're discussing something amazing tomorrow, which is how to use AI to teach yourself anything. And I can't wait for that. Honestly, I can't wait for that. It's going to be a pretty interesting session because I'm going to be learning as well. So one thing I need to learn is certainly I need to understand how I can be able to share my screen as well while I'm teaching. Not just the screen of my PDF, but the screen of my laptop. I need to figure that out because I want to be able to do things live with you guys. Like instead of, the last Saturday, when I was talking, I was using my phone and you couldn't see it clearly. So I want to understand how I can share my screen. I just really hope I can because I want to continue doing these live sessions on YouTube. I know that if we're using Google Meet, I'll be able to share my screen, but I want to be sure that I will be able to share my screen as well on YouTube. So that's something I'm going to figure out. Yeah. Okay, I said I was going to finish my book before I get started. Can I share the two with her now? Yes. Hold on. Okay. All right. Lisa, how is work been? How has it been going? I think it's been 1 week already, right? How has work been? But guys, I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful for this YouTube community. It's so cool. Like, I'll tell you, when I woke up this morning, I didn't want to, in fact, I wanted to continue sleeping. I first woke up by past 10 because I slept. I was done reading by past 3:20. Then I tried to sleep, so I most likely slept by 4 a.m. Then I woke up by past 10. My alarm woke me up by 8 first. I snoozed. I went back to bed. Then I woke up by past 10, and I checked my WhatsApp. There was no message from clients, so I went back to bed, and I woke up by 11:33. And if you are frequent on our live sessions, you know that I usually send a morning update to my client. I have to send the updates before 12 p.m. and it was already 11:30 something. I just wanted to sleep. I was so like, but I got myself to do the report, the update, and I sent it to him. And I wanted to stay back in bed, but I reminded myself that I need to show up for my YouTube community. I need to show up. I mean, our live sessions, our co-working sessions are usually by 10. But I'm like, even if I'm starting late, let me still show up. Let me just show up. That's what that matters. So I made up my mind that, by 12 o'clock, I'm just going to show up, and I'll just show up as much as I wanted. So I showed up by 12, and see where I've been yapping. It's been exciting. So I just want to say thank you very much. You guys lift my mood up, honestly, when I come live and we talk, we ask questions, especially when there's now results from the things we've talked about so far. Makes me feel so good. So I just wanted to say thank you. I am so grateful, and please continue to like, watch my videos, share, comment, just so that YouTube will push. And my goal is, if it's possible, for us to get to 10,000 subscribers before we start Q4. So Q3 is July, August, and September. So we are ending July with 6,000 subscribers, hopefully, or 6,000 plus subscribers. So it means that August and September we have to get to 10K subscribers. So please help me achieve this goal. Thank you so much. Lizzie says, I requested for pictures and visuals of our products. She's yet to send them, but she said I should give some time to compile them. Okay, yeah. Things like that will definitely take time. Another thing you can do, if she has a website, does she have a website? If she has a website, you can pull those up from her website. Another thing is, you can also pull the images from the internet, but you just need to be sure that they are products that she has. So that is other options you can give her. So if, let's say, by end of today she doesn't respond, or she has not sent them in, you can reach out to her, tell her that, okay, you believe that maybe it's been very stressful. The other options is, you can pull the videos or the pictures from her website and also from the internet if she just tells you the products that she has. So you can do that. So that is part of being a proactive virtual assistant. And a lot of people are looking for people that will be proactive for them, people that just know what to do and do them, or better still, people that can think quickly for them. Do you get? So yeah, so that's something that you can do. Lisa says, work is going well, but I never knew accounting has so much work. I have some tax submissions for tomorrow, so that's why I'm not engaging. Please, I know accounting is a very delicate job, so please focus on your work. Focus on your work so that you don't make any mistakes. Accounting is very, very serious, very, very serious. So please, be sure to not make any mistakes. Pay good attention to details. All right. Yeah. Okay, so I need to respond to this woman's email. It's hectic. Just know I'm here in the background. All right, no problem. Yeah, I mean, these sessions are for us to work, not to chit chat. So please, work in your background. Why is it? This is scattered. Vino is here again. Posting 4 times a day. Are you able to do 4 times a day? If you can do 4 times a day, no problem. As long as you can do it, please don't commit to something that you cannot do. That's the only advice I'll have. Make sure you're committing to something you can do, something that you feel comfortable doing for a long time. Remember, you're doing this for a while, so make sure that it's something that you can do, something that is sustainable for you. But yeah. Text me, I can't. Vino, what's going on? What's going on with you? Okay, I need to finish my book. I have how many chapters left? 1, 2. Wait. From how to make an exit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 chapters left. I'm so excited. See, one of the reasons I love reading is to finish the book. Like, once I am able to do like this, makes. I should read out. Oh, okay. Lizzie, that is interesting. All right, let's do that. So, the book we're reading is Discipline is Destiny, right? And it has 3 parts. It has 3 parts to the book. And the first part is called, let me go to the first page. So the first part is called the exterior, the body. So it's telling you how to take care of your body, how to treat your body, how to be the best version of yourself from your body area, like just the exterior. The second part is the inner domain, the temperament. The second part is the inner domain, the temperament. So it's telling you about your soul, your body, and not your soul, your mind, your character, all those things. Then the last part, which we are currently on, is the magisteria. That is the soul. So just telling you things general about the soul. So under the third part, we are reading how to make an exit. Let me read out. So the most impressive operations of World War II was not the invasion of D-Day. It was, in a sense, the opposite of it. The landing on the beaches of Normandy involved nearly 160,000 Allied troops. Comparatively, the retreat at Dunkirk, also exactly 4 years to the day, involved the evacuation of some 340,000 troops. It did not take years to plan. There were no rehearsals. It was done on the fly with the help of countless civilians and soldiers who calmly, collectedly stepped up and did what needed to be done. The former gets all the glory, of course, but it wouldn't have been possible without the transcendent heroism and discipline of the latter. One was magnificent, but the other, they knew even at the time, was a miracle. It was a defeat, unquestionably, and yet the order and discipline with which it was handled actually inspired Britain. Churchill would give, in the following days, his famous speech about fighting on to the end, on the beaches, in the air, in the fields, and in the streets. Why did England think they could do it? Because of what Churchill saw at Dunkirk. He knew. Wars are not won by evacuations, he said, but there was a victory inside this deliverance. Sometimes we have to rush in. Sometimes we have to hold our fire. But often the hardest thing is to go the other way. Our instinct is to charge ahead. There is a part of us that feels like it would rather die than admit defeat, or worse, run away. In storybooks, in history books, retreat is the opposite of heroism, of courage. Retreat is the opposite of heroism, of courage, of discipline. Yet, that is sometimes exactly what we must muster the poise and courage to do. At the Battle of Delium, Socrates found himself in such a situation. We don't tend to see Socrates as a soldier, but he was, and a good one at that. The Athenian lines had broken and the men were in flight, but Socrates maintained his self-discipline and even as he fled, was sure not to drop his arms or shield. We are told he continued to fight even as he left the field of battle. Alcibiades, I don't know how to pronounce this name, it's such a Roman name, a student of Socrates, whose life Socrates had saved, would be profoundly inspired by the sight of the philosopher battling his way to safety, not abandoning anyone or anything of value. Least of all, his dignity. This sort of man who is never touched in a war, he would later say, those only are pursued who are running away headlong. Charging ahead is always inspiring, but sometimes it takes a bigger man and another level of discipline to be able to maintain your dignity when you have to go the other way. It would be wonderful if no battles were ever lost by the good guys, if fearlessness or hard work were always enough, but this is not reality. Sometimes you have to live to fight another day. This is so key. So sometimes when you are trying to do something, like you keep trying to make it work, and it's not working, what this part is telling us is sometimes you can just leave it and try the next day. It doesn't mean that you are being unserious. It doesn't mean that you're not putting in your best. Sometimes the best you have to offer at that particular time is to retreat and come back again. So that's what this place is telling us. So it would be wonderful if no battles were ever lost by the good guys, if fearlessness or hard work were always enough, but this is not reality. Sometimes you have to live to fight another day. Let me mark this. I need to mark this as a reminder, because sometimes, because of the fact that we are trying our hard best, we are trying so much to show that we are strong, we are we do our best and all that. Sometimes we forget this part. So yeah, the question is not when you have to do this, but how you respond to it when the day comes. So for the Greeks, retreat isn't a shameful thing. It was how you retreated well matter. The most grievous sin was repaspia, losing your shield in the chaos of escaping, because that endangered the whole phalanx, placing your comrades in peril. A Spartan could return from a battle lost, but they dared not ever abandon anyone. That's what they meant when they said, return with your shield on or not. When things look lost, some just give up. Terrible things come from the collapse of will. Disorder and apathy compound the problem, prevent things from being salvaged, even inflict collateral damage on others. This is not the way, as Socrates and the heroes of Dunkirk both show us. At the same time, there are others who refuse to give up, thinking that this stubbornness is a virtue, but it too is a vice. The person who can only go forward, who never backs up, who has no escape plan, who is not brave but reckless, they are not self-controlled, they are stuck in one gear. You don't win everything every time, not in war, not in life or in business. Guys, did you just hear this? I need to mark it. Let me mark it before I explain what that means. So this is just actually saying exactly what I said earlier. Yeah, this is saying exactly what I said earlier. When we talk about being hardworking, being the greatest version of yourself and all, we think that on days when, I think this just honestly summarizes the fact that too much of everything is bad. Too much of giving up is bad. Too much of like putting your head on and trying to say you must make this work, you must make this work is bad. Because sometimes all you just need to do is just chill first and come back. You live to fight another day, honestly. When you see that this thing is so hard, like it is hard, like you're trying all your best, you've tried all your best and it's not working. That's what I do. Say for example, I think 2 weeks ago, my plan was to shoot. I already fixed my script. I already edited the video for that day and posted, like, and I had work to do. I did so many things that day. Part of the things that were on my list was for me to shoot content. When it was time to shoot content, my body was not willing to shoot. Like, I was tired. I could feel it in my body. Sometimes, honestly, you have to listen to your body. You have to learn how to listen to your body. So I could feel it in my body, and I'm like, you know what? I think I should just go and sleep. After all, I have content ahead. So one thing that I've been trying to do to make sure that I continue to show up on YouTube when I'm supposed to show up, especially with videos, is I make sure that I have content ready ahead of time. So even if I have, say, one content or two content, I want to shoot more so that I have like a lot of content. For example, right now I think I have 3 or 4 videos that I've not posted, and I have 2 more videos that are half done. So there's one that I'm doing a vlog on how I'm using AI to change my life. There's another one of my parlor vlog. So those ones. So I collectively have like 6 videos already. So that day I just told myself, you know what? I'm going to go and sleep. Let me just go and sleep. And that's how I went to sleep. So that's what this thing is telling us. Let me just read that part again. So he said, at the same time, there are others who refuse to give up, thinking that this stubbornness is a virtue. So he's saying that it's not all the time that you refuse to give up that it's a virtue or it's a good thing. Sometimes it is not a good thing at all. But it too is a vice. The person who can only go forward, who never backs up, who has no escape plan, who is not brave but reckless, they are not self-controlled. So it means that if you don't know when to stop, that is not bravery. That is being out of self-control. You don't have self-control at all. They are stuck in one gear. You don't win everything every time, not in war, not in life or in business. And that also lets you know that there are other ways. If a person that is very stubborn and insists that one way is the way to go, they will never be able to grow, because sometimes it's not only one way that you have to go. And the only way you can see the other way to go is if you just chill first and say, okay, let me rest and try to think about it. What other way can I use to go around this? So that's what this is saying. So every time you are faced with things, just remember that it is not every time you win. You don't win everything every time. Not in war, not in life, not in business. Sometimes it just happens like that. So a person who doesn't know how to disengage, to cut their losses, or to extricate themselves is a vulnerable person. Now, this is not to say that you should give up easily. No, don't give up easily. I feel like somehow you just know when it is time to give up. Now, I'll give you an example. So, day before yesterday, I had a sales call with a client, a potential client. She found me on Instagram. You know, I used to tell you guys that I get clients from Instagram. So she found me on Instagram. We had a call day before yesterday, a sales call. So where I introduced myself to her, she told me what she wanted, and I said yes, I could do it. And then we talked about my pricing, and we came to an agreement like, okay, yes, this pricing work. Then I told her that, okay, next step, I was going to send her an agreement and details of what our work together is going to be. I sent that to her yesterday. So we had the call on Wednesday, right? On Thursday, I sent it to her. She didn't respond early, so I sent later in the day. I sent a message to follow up, and she responded that, oh, sorry, that she was busy, and all that, but she was going to check it now. So she checked it and she asked me a couple of questions. I answered. So she wanted me to adjust some things in the contract. I adjusted the things. She told me to send it to her via email. I sent it to her via email, and then all of a sudden she comes back. So we had an agreement. I'm not going to call the actual price, but the price is in 4 figures in dollars and 7 figures in naira when you convert it. So the agreement we had was we're going to do 60%. She was going to pay me 60% to start because she doesn't know me, and the remaining 40% after 2 weeks. We agreed on that. But when I sent the contract, I think she had a misunderstanding when I told her that, oh, she has 5 more business days for due payments. If not, the contract will be null and void. So she now interpreted that I said she needed to pay the full money in 5 days. So she now sent me a message to say, oh, she cannot do this anymore, that the money she's about to pay me is too much for her to just give me like that without seeing the work that I'm doing for her. She doesn't know me and all that. So at first I didn't understand it. I was I got a little bit pissed, like, this woman just stressed me so much after creating, fixing the contract and everything, sending her an email. Now she's telling me that she's not going to go. So now, if I were somebody that give up easily, so I'm trying to use this to explain something, to tell you that it's not every time you give up. Sometimes you know to push forward, right? Now, when I saw that message, I felt like there was a misunderstanding that she didn't understand. So I sent a message to her to explain, and then I offered for her to get on a call with me. Like, if she wants to get on a call again, let me explain further, just in case she's confused, because it seems like she's confused about something. And then I also went ahead to explain, like, oh, the reason why you're paying me is this. It's an investment. It's not that I'm just not doing anything. So your money is justified. So I sent that to her. She said, okay. We jumped on a call yesterday by, I think, 9:30. I explained to her, just a 10 minutes call, just for me to explain something. I explained to her, and guess what? This morning, I woke up to my payment. So what I mean is, there are times you know to give up. There are times you know that, okay, this is not a give up situation. You try to explain what it is. Now, in terms of when to give up, I just talked about when not to give up. I'm going to tell you about when to give up. I have another client that I started working with, I think on the 15th of this month, and I'm going to give up on him. That's my plan. Next week, I'm going to give up on him. Why? He expects so much without providing feedback, providing context, and also being responsive. Yet he expects to deliver. Like, how do you deliver something when you are not, like, when you are working with the client, you have your parts to play, the clients have their parts to play. No matter how much you play your part, if the client does not play their part well, there's no way you can do amazingly well. Like, there's no way you can achieve results for them. So I've been thinking, I think it's almost time. I'm just going to try one more thing with him. If I try the thing over the weekend, I'm just going to try like new systems and I'll share with him. If he's still not responsive, next week I'm just going to tell him that I think that we should end the contract. I don't think that he's ready for the kind of work he needs and all. So I just try to explain to you guys the difference, or you just know. Like, for this one now, this person I want to end this contract, I just know that I think it's time. I'm just going to try my best. So let me know if you are understanding what I'm explaining. You see that I'm not just giving up. I'm still trying things, right? But I just know that if I try this last thing, so this means that if you keep trying and trying and trying, it's not working, it means that, okay, it's time to go. But you cannot give up if you've not tried a lot. That's what you need to know, okay? Let me know in the comment section if you're understanding, and let me know if I should continue reading the book. See, I yap a lot. I yap a lot. Okay. All right, let me continue. Okay, so it says a person who doesn't know how to disengage, to cut their losses, or to extricate themselves is a vulnerable person. A person who does not know how to lose will still lose. A person who does not know how to take their L will still collect L. So it's better you take your L by yourself and move on to the next than for you to wait for that L to come. All right. Okay, a person who does not know how to lose will still lose, only more painfully so. It means that if you wait for you to lose, it will be more painful than if you collect your loss by yourself. So Lincoln found that his father was trapped by the logic of an old expression. If you make a bad bargain, hug it the tighter. This inability to let go, to change tactic, to admit a mistake, the so-called sunk cost fallacy embodied, it's doomed the man to decades of failure and struggle. Throwing good money after bad, as the saying goes. We'd like to think we are different, but are we? Sometimes we like to feel like, oh, this doesn't apply to me because I'm different. But are you really different? We're all human beings. So we keep on dumbly doing the same things we've always done, under the illusion it will someday bring about different results. We think it's a sign of character that we won't give in, when it may well be stupidity or weakness. Or we think that we can continue going forward forever, when in fact it is exactly this insatiability that often leads us right into the trap that the enemy laid for us. So it lets you know that sometimes you being stubborn does not mean that you're good the way you think it is. You're being stupid. So hope is important, but it is not a strategy. I love this. Hope is important. Hoping that things get better. Like you continue to do the wrong thing, right? You continue to do the wrong thing for a long time and hoping that it will get better, things will get better. Hope is not a strategy at all. Hope is not a strategy. Denial is not the same thing as determination. You denying that what you are doing is not working, it's not the same thing as you being a determined person. Not at all. Delusion is destruction. Greed will get you in the end. Lizzie said this one does not appear to me. Does not apply to me for now. Which one exactly are you talking about? Consider the self-control of Rocky Marciano, who walked away from fighting when he sensed his body was done. He was one of the rare boxers who got out before it was too late. He was offered $1 million. Oh, guys, I just thought about something. Let me know what you think about us starting a virtual book club. Let me know what you think about it. Us starting a virtual book club. So it means that once in a week, we will come just live, like I'm reading like this. We will come and we'll read together. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section if you like the idea of a book club, a virtual book club. I've always wanted to have a book club or to start a book club. I had a friend, may I so rest in peace, that used to host a virtual book club on Google Meet. What we used to do then was everybody comes and they have their book they are reading and that's it. But for me, what I'm thinking is we'll have the same book we're reading. So it's either you buy your book and like the book, let's say if we decide that the book we are reading this month is Discipline is Destiny, it means everybody will buy it and read. Or if you are unable to buy it or find the PDF version, we can also read it online like this, the way I'm reading it for you. Let me know. But not YouTube. Okay, where? What platform? The reason why YouTube is good for that is because we can now reach other people. Because right about now, it is just me, you, and Lisa that is here. Other people will join in, they would join the conversation and all. But yeah, to make it open for all, that's why I wanted YouTube. Well, let me know your thoughts. Back to what I was saying. So it was one of the, let me start from the beginning. So consider the self-control of Rocky Marciano, who walked away from fighting when he sensed his body was done. He was one of the rare boxers who got out before it was too late. He was offered $1 million in 1956 to come back and fight Floyd Peterson, more than double what he made in his sixth and final title defense against Akimo the previous year. But he knew his time is up. But he knew his time was up. He valued his brain more than his ego or his pocketbook. Remember, it was ultimately Gehrig who benched himself before his performance began to harm the team, handling his exit from the game with great dignity and poise, even when the thing he loved most was taken from him. You have to be strong enough to do that, to know when the jig is up, to know when you have to call third. There's a story about Dean Acheson, then an undersecretary in the Treasury Department during the Great Depression. He found himself in a serious disagreement with FDR over a monetary issue. Acheson told FDR that the law was very clear, but FDR told him he expected his lawyers to find a way around the law. After an intense argument, Atkinson submitted a polite and gracious letter of resignation and then attended the swearing-in ceremony of his replacement, where he thanked a stunned FDR for the opportunity. Not only would Atkinson come back to serve during the war, but FDR held him up as an example. Tell him to ask Dean Atkinson how a gentleman resigns. Roosevelt once replied to a staffer who had handed him a petulant letter of resignation. Can you put your ego aside and accept defeat? Or irreconcilable differences? Can you walk away when it's time, even when it's so tempting not to? Can you keep it together even as everything is falling apart? When all eyes are watching, waiting for you to fall apart alongside it? This is the hardest thing to do in life, actually, but yeah, over time we get to learn it. You must pay your debts, own your mistakes, communicate your intentions. You must have a plan for what you are going to do after, whether that's a next project, a new chapter, another charge. This, knowing when to exit, knowing when to pay your debt. Like, if you make mistake, you own your mistake. Whether that's the next project and a charge. The only way you can Lisa say you get ideas. Yeah. Okay, retreats, we must remember, are only temporary. This is the beautiful thing about retreating. It's the fact that we're temporary. You know, the reason why we find it difficult to retreat in life, or like when we make a mistake, to own our mistakes and go, is we think that's the end of our life. But no, it's not the end. It is just temporary. That's one thing you need to have at the back of your mind. So every time maybe you make a mistake, and meanwhile, Lizzie, you know, you mentioned that this does not apply to you for now. It's not just about work, or this is not just about work. This is about life generally. So about work, about life, about business, about even personal life, family, you know, everything. So do not think that this applies to only work. This is not just work. So retreats, I need to mark this as well. Retreats, we must remember, are only temporary. They are buying us time until we can take the offensive and courageously attack again in pursuit of our victory. I love this. See that this book is amazing. Like, I love this book so much. It's like a subtle, not subtle, I don't think I'll call it a subtle reminder. It's like a sharp reminder of certain things you need to know, you need to do. But this only applies to you if you like this method of, we've entered a new chapter now. This only applies to you if you like this type of way of life. I think it is called Stoicism. Let me check. I didn't even know I was a Stoic. But wait, let me check. Let's chat. Let me check what Stoicism is. Quick question. What is Stoicism? Philosophy that teaches that the key to a good life is focusing on what you can control, accepting what you cannot. Oh, I think I'm a Stoic. I just found out. It began in ancient Greece around 300 BC with Zeno of Citium and was later developed by thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus. At its core, Stoicism is built on a few simple ideas. Separate what you can and cannot control. You can control your thoughts, actions, efforts, and character. You cannot control other people's opinions, the weather, traffic, the economy, or whether something unfair happens. Your response matters more than the event. Stoics believe that events themselves don't make us suffer as much as our interpretation of them. Oh, I am such a hardcore Stoic. For example, you lose a client. Instead of thinking I'm a failure, a Stoic asks, what can I learn? What action should I take next? Virtue is the highest good. Success isn't measured by wealth, fame, or status, but by your character, wisdom, courage, justice, self-discipline. Practice accepting reality. Acceptance doesn't mean liking what happened. It means acknowledging reality before deciding how to respond. So instead of saying this shouldn't have happened, a Stoic thinks it happened. Now, what's the best next move? What Stoicism is not many people misunderstand stoicism. It is not never showing emotions, being cold or detached, letting people walk over you, pretending nothing hurts. Stoicism teaches managing emotions rather than being controlled by them. A practical example: imagine you spend weeks preparing a presentation and the client rejects it. A non stoic response might be, everything is ruined, they don't appreciate me, why does this always happen? A stoic response would be, the rejection is outside my control now. My preparation was within my control. I'll ask for feedback, improve, and keep going. The goal isn't to avoid disappointment, it is to avoid letting disappointment determine your next action. A famous Stoic quote from Epictetus: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That sentence captures the essence of Stoicism. Why Stoicism is still popular? People study Stoicism because it helps them handle stress and uncertainty, become more resilient after setbacks, make decisions based on reason rather than impulse, stay focused on long-term goals instead of short-term emotions. Man, in modern terms, Stoicism is less about suppressing feelings and more about developing the mental habit of asking, what is within my control right now, and what is the best thing I can do next? That question is the foundation of the philosophy. Guys, what do you think? I just checked what Stoicism is, and I definitely relate so much to it. What do you think? Anyways, let's get back to the book. The next chapter says, endure the unendurable. So, in his room in Heiligenstadt in October 1802, Beethoven was at his lowest ebb. His health had been failing for years. He was plagued by fevers and dysentery. He was tortured by crippling headaches. His heart was broken after more than one failed love affair. Repeatedly blocked from marriage by his lack of noble status, his genius was not yet fully appreciated. Critics buzzed about him, but the old guards were still in control of the music scene. The wars of Napoleon still ravaged his homeland. It was in this dark moment that he considered ending it all. For 6 years now, he would cry out in a letter to his brothers, I have been hopelessly afflicted, made worse by senseless doctors, for year to year deceived with hopes of improvement, finally compelled to face the prospect of a lasting malady whose cure will take years to perhaps be impossible. Though born with a fiery, active temperament, even susceptible to the diversions of society, I was soon compelled to withdraw myself to live alone. If at times I was soon compelled to forget all this, oh, how hardly I was flung back by the doubly sad experience of my bad hearing. Yet it was impossible for me to say to people, speak louder, shout, for I am deaf. The fates had ganged up on Beethoven. His body failed him. Events had conspired to break him. Indeed, they would have broken most people. Yet he did not break. Starting over the precipice into blackness, a future where his greatest gift would disappear. Somehow, despite all his pain and anguish, he mustered the strength to carry on. It was only my art that held me back, he wrote. Oh, it seemed impossible to me to leave this world before I had produced all that I felt capable of producing, and so I prolonged this wretched existence. This is so cool. Like, it is one thing to know that you have so much to offer. Like, most recently, one thing I've been thinking, or one thing that's been ringing in my head, two things actually. The first one is the world has so much knowledge to give. We have so many people in the world, right? We have so many people that have lived in the world that are so smart, that have so much knowledge that they've documented. The world has so much knowledge, and I feel like I want to consume all that knowledge. I want to learn all those things. Like, I want to understand how people in the past thought, how people are thinking right now. Like, people that really thought, so not people that are just making content or writing for money. Like, people that really were passionate about what they are doing, about what they were studying and their findings they were recording. I want to learn all of that. I want to consume as much knowledge as possible. Like, I feel like it's part of appreciating the world that we live in, right? Another thing is, I feel like I have so much to offer, because the more you take in, the more you have to give. So there's so much for me to offer, and I want to give it all out before I leave. right? So that's what this person is talking about. Like, that is the summary. So he has been going through hell in life, so many things happening, but because he felt like he had so much to offer, he didn't want to go, so he had to continue. This is somebody that has been sick for a very long time, that is having a wretched existence, but he continued because he felt like he had a whole lot to offer. I think I need to mark this, honestly, because once you live like this, right? Once you live like this, like, you have so much to offer and you need to offer that, it makes your life easier, and I feel like it also makes you show up as much as you can, right? So I hope my determination will remain firm to endure until it pleases the inexorable Pekia to break the thread. Perhaps I shall get better, perhaps not. I am ready. Virtue sustained him despite the indescribable misery. Thanks to it and my art, he wrote, I did not end my life by suicide. How lucky we are that he had the self-control to resist this nearly fatal fit of passion. Without it, we would not have his 4 Elisi, Piano Concerto No. 5, 8 of his 9 symphonies, or hundreds and hundreds of other pieces. Of course, all things in life requires some form of endurance. So all things in life require some form of endurance. Patience, toughness, delayed gratification, all that. But what about life itself? Sometimes, as Seneca would write from the perspective of his own crippling illnesses, and then exile. Even to live is an act of courage and discipline too. To live alone is an act of courage and an act of discipline. Life is not fair. It is not kind. It demands from us not just a strength of body and mind, but also of soul, what the ancients called kateria, or perseverance. Otherwise, we could not bear to soldier on. We could not survive the blows of fate, the ones intended to discourage us, to make us quit on ourselves and abandon our wits, our principles, our philosophy. Forbearance is the sum total of our human virtues, said preacher Witness Lee. Not just weathering a storm or two, but something beyond that, as anyone who has had a bad year or decade or worse. But it is this, the struggling, who are beset by difficulties and pain and doubt, who refuses to give up, who refuse to stop trying. This is more than courage. They have conquered themselves in body and mind, even if those are precisely the things working so hard against them. We must look at them as heroes. The philosopher Sextus Empiricus defined endurance as a virtue which makes us superior to other things which seem hard to bear. Paul Gallico, writing about his friend Logerig, tried to define the heroism of the man and settled on, among other things, the capacity for quiet, uncomplaining suffering, the ability to take it and never to let on, never to let the world suspect you are taking it. This is actually something I'm trying to learn. Before, I had the habit of, if I'm feeling discomfort or I'm not, like, things are going on, I want to share. But right now, I feel like I want to learn endurance and endure things without showing up, because in the long run, talking about what is going on or like letting on your suffering, I think it's part of playing victim. Yeah, it's part of playing victim, or playing the victim card, or playing the victim, having the victim mentality. And I don't want to live my life having a victim mentality. I don't think I like the idea. I don't want that anymore. So that's actually something that I'm working on, thanks to this book. That's why I really love that I'm reading this book, because I'm getting to learn all of these things from this book. All right. Where did we stop? Okay, yeah. Seneca, let me know if you are understanding. Let me know what you've learned so far as well, just so that I am sure that we are learning and paying attention together. Okay, so Seneca was exiled for 8 years. Florence Nightingale spent 16 years in waiting, thwarted from her call. James James Stockdale must have yearned for death countless times as he hung there, his arms bound behind his back, a rope lifting him from the floor, popping his shoulders out of their sockets. Think of the queen pushing through her annus horribilis. Anne Frank in her attic for 25 months, cheerfully writing in her journal. Stephen Hawking, 40 years in a wheelchair from ALS. Marcus Aurelius, plagued by a lifelong stomach ailment. Then wars and floods and an actual plague, reminding himself that nothing was unendurable and that the only thing that wasn't, our mortality, eventually solved the problem for us. Think of the mothers who pushed through postpartum. Think of the people who fought through cancer, through bankruptcy, through humiliating failure. Think of the addicts who battled withdrawals to bounce back from rock bottom. Think of the people who clawed their way out of generational poverty. Think of the slaves who survived the worst of what humans can do to one another. Let us not confuse this with not asking for help. Very key. Let us not confuse this with not asking for help. As the artist Charlie Mackesy wrote beautifully, asking for help is not giving up, it is refusing to give up. So this means that if you are going through stuff, if it's very if it's unendurable, feel free to ask for help. Of course, do not continue. Don't think that asking for help is a weakness. No, asking for help is an act of not giving up in itself. Okay, so they kept going. They don't quit. Still, as Maya Angelou wrote, still they rose, and in so doing, they ennobled the dignified. Their struggle with endurance and quiet fortitude. They proved themselves greater than the adversity that befell them. They kept going. So can you. Don't despair, don't give up, keep the faith, because one day you will look back from the other side of the struggle and be glad you did. Oh, I love this book so much. Hi guys, good afternoon. If you are just joining us, welcome. My name is Jenn. I create content about work from home, freelancing, getting clients and all that, and also becoming the best version of yourself. I'm also a reader. I love to read. So we're currently doing a virtual book reading on Discipline is Destiny. So I'm reading it out and explaining from what I learned. So guys, we are in another chapter. This is the third chapter. The title is Be Best. So by AD 66, Pompey had already earned the title Magnus, making him, in fact, and in name, Pompey the Great. He had reconquered Spain. He had served as Rome's consul, not once but twice. He had defeated Spartacus in the Third Civil War. And I should say that one of the things I actually like about this book is it is actually a recent book. It's a recent book. I think it was written after the pandemic. Let me confirm. Was written after the pandemic, and that's so cool. Like, so it lets me know that this is not, he's not talking about the old world. He's talking about the new world. He's telling us how to, strive in the new world. When was this book by Ryan Holiday published? Discipline is Destiny. It was done in 2022. This is 2026, so 4 years ago. It was written 4 years ago, and I love it so much. I don't know, like, I feel like we're getting to the age. I've not read maybe books that were written 2 years ago or the last 1 year, but with the way ChatGPT writing is everywhere, I don't want to lose this form of writing, like where you can read and you feel like, yes, you are communicating. The writer is communicating to you. You're having a conversation with the writer, not a robot, right? So yeah, I'm glad that it was written after the invention of AI, but it still sounds like somebody wrote it. Okay, Lizzie said to endure hard times to come out stronger. Perfect. Thank you, Lizzie. Okay, now let's go back. And now he was being sent to dispatch with the Cilician pirates who terrorized the Mediterranean. Before he left, he stopped for a private consultation with the Stoic philosopher Posidonius, one of the great minds of the ancient world. Posidonius' advice might have seemed rather redundant. Be the best and always superior to others, he had told the ambitious general, quoting a line from the Odyssey. But Posidonius wasn't talking about achieving more victories over the enemy. He was talking about conquering the self, not honors, but being honorable. Plutarch tells us about a far less famous general and statesman in Greece, many generations before Pompey, despite his brilliance on and off the battlefield. Epaminondas was appointed to an insulting minor office in Thebes. In fact, it was because of his brilliance that he was put in charge of the city's sewers. Instead of being provoked or despairing at his irrelevance, a number of jealous and fearful rivals thought it would effectively end his career. Epaminondas took fully to his new job, declaring that it is not the office that brings distinction to the man, it is the man who brings distinction to the office. This is so nice. It is not the office that brings distinction to the man. So this means that it is not the job you get as a remote worker, it is not the job you get that brings distinction to you. It's not how much you make that brings distinction to you. It is the man, it is you by yourself that brings distinction to that job. I love that. I love that thought. With hard work and earnestness, Plutarch wrote, he proceeded to transform that insignificant office into a great and respected honor. It means that you are the one that carries the value, you are the one that carries the substance to make things great, not the other way around. He proceeded to transform the insignificant office into a great and respected honor, even though previously it had involved nothing more than overseeing the clearing of dung and the diverting of water from the streets. Best is the person who adds shine to their accomplishments with their discipline, not the other way around. Best is the person who adds shine to their accomplishments and their discipline. Love it. So this is what Posidonius was trying to tell Pompey, although Pompey failed to fully realize it. In the end, it's not about what we do, it's how we do it, and by extension, who we are. In the end, it is not about what we do, it's about how we do it, by extension, who we are. It means that when you are going through stuff, when you are working, when you are doing stuff, your person is changing, your personality, your character, everything is changing. So at the end, it's not the money we make or the people we work with that is our achievement. It is the person we become in the process that is our achievement. So too often we find people choosing to be great at their profession over being a great human being, believing that success or art or fame or power must be pursued to the exclusion of all else. Does it have to be that way? Does being loved have to be at odds with being lovely? Or can temperance, as Cicero claimed, be the fine polish on top of a great life? Queen Elizabeth inherited the monarchy. Marcus Aurelius was selected for the purple as a boy, but it wasn't the throne that made either of them kingly. It was their behavior. They were what the ancients called first citizen, for their character as much as their rank. As Marcus said, his aim was never to be the most powerful king, never to conquer the most territory or build the most beautiful buildings. Instead, he was after perfection of character, to live your last day every day without frenzy or sloth or pretense. It just happens that wonderful external accomplishments like those achieved by Elizabeth and Marcus can come out of internal endeavor. They are not the goal, they are the byproducts. So they are not the goal, but the byproduct. Hi, Nika Bell. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know where you're joining us from. I'm streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, and we're currently reading a book, Discipline is Destiny. I hope that you stay and enjoy the book with us. We're trying to finish the book, so it's remaining a couple of pages, and we're going to finish it because we're pretty fast. This is the third the third chapter. Okay, Nika, thank you so much for joining. Where did I stop? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So they are not the goal. So what it's saying here is all the things that we're trying to achieve, right? It's not the goal. They become the byproduct as long as we become the best version of ourselves. So the more you work, so take for example, Lizzie, the work you are doing for this client right now, I know that you are doing it so that you eventually get her to hire you, right? And start paying you good money. But the process of you doing the work, showing up when you're supposed to show up, creating content, researching for the content you want to create, researching for the things that you're supposed to do for her, makes you, at the end of your 3 months, the byproduct will be you getting her as a client, but the original trophy or the original prize that you have won is that at the end of the 3 months, you become a good social media virtual assistant that is an expert with cosmetic and perfume businesses. So this means that you have gotten results for her that you can put in your portfolio, such that when you are pitching to the next person, you actually get the job because you have proof of what you can do since you've done it for that person. So the what you are winning is actually the person you are becoming. Do you get? So for example, now, since I started showing up on YouTube 1 month ago, the goal for me was actually to become monetized and definitely increase my followers, my subscribers. But guess what? I'm becoming a person that show up because I already have what my schedule is. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, every Saturday, I show up live. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, our co-working session, and Saturdays are our Saturday school. So I show up all of these times, and because I know that I'm showing up to talk to you guys, my community member, I have to read. I have to study. I have to make sure that I know exactly what it is I'm saying so that I don't mislead you, especially during Saturday school. So that means I have become a better person because I read, and also I've learned to show up. Another thing is I also know that I post videos on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, and on Sundays. That's 3 days in a week. So it means that I have to shoot content. I have to make sure that I shoot all the 3 contents that need to go out, and I also need to edit. So what is the person I have become so far? I've now become a person that shoots content. Of course, I will do my research, I'll write my script, then I show up to shoot content. I can shoot 3 content or even 4 content as a goal. The last content I shot, I think I shot 5 content. I shot 3 content for myself, and then I shot 2 for a friend of mine that needed me to create content about his product. So I shot 5 content on the go. And another person I've become is somebody that edits better. My edits, if you look at my editing now, the last 1 month, compared to my editing from before, you see that they have improved. I'm the one that edits my videos myself. You see that they have improved. So my editing has improved now. And another thing is I have now learned over time. Yes, we had a trophy. I have now learned over time to build a community because I now respond to comments. I now make sure that anybody that is looking for help, like I don't gatekeep anything. If you ask me a question right now, even if it's a question that people usually pay me for, I will answer you. And that's why I started doing the free master classes on Saturday school. So the goal now, or the achievement so far for me, it's not my watch hours, it's not my subscribers that has been climbing, it's not just my community, it is the person I have become, or the person I am becoming, because I've not stopped. I'm now learning to show up. And guess what? Let me give you a little bit of gist, right? So when I have on my Instagram, my link in bio has my website, right? And I've not really been posting so consistently on Instagram because I've been focusing more on YouTube. And when I saw the call that was booked, I did not expect it was going to be a client that wants to pay me money. I thought maybe it was a virtual assistant that wants to talk to me about something. So I showed up, but I showed up my best because I'm always going to show up my best. So I had just made my hair, so I dressed up, I turned on my camera. That's something I do. I will always turn on my camera. I'm not part of the people that don't turn on my camera. Like, if you join my call, you see that my camera is turned on already. So I turned on my camera, and then she didn't turn on her camera, but we talked. And immediately we joined the call, she was like, okay, tell me about yourself. I saw your page, I saw your website, it looked good. I was looking for somebody to work with, but tell me about yourself. So that means she put me on the spot. And I had to now tell her about myself, about what I do and everything. You remember that I couldn't prepare because I did not know the kind of person she was, and I did not know the kind of work she was looking for. In fact, like I said, I thought it was just a virtual assistant. So I had to show up my best and convert her on the spot. And guess what? I was able to do that. And why I was able to do that, I believe, is because I have been showing up on YouTube. So the person I have become in the last 1 month of consistently showing up on YouTube, on our live session, on everything, now made me do well with my clients. So Black Leo said this gist is sweet. Let me get my popcorn. Good, get your popcorn. So this is just to reaffirm and tell you that the person or the goal eventually is you. Everything will become a byproduct. You making a lot of money, you getting clients, all of them will be byproduct. Just make sure that you are showing up and you are doing all the things you need to do. Okay? So yeah, let me continue. Oh, right thing right now. Wait, though. Is Ryan Holiday a new author? I think this guy is a new author. Okay, this is a series. Oh. Wisdom Takes Work. He even wrote something last year, 2025. I'm going to buy all of these guys' books like mad. Like, I'm going to buy all his books. Okay, let me continue because we need to finish this. Where was I? Okay, they are not the goal, they are the byproduct. Conquering the world is almost easy after we have fully conquered ourselves. Certainly fewer people have done the latter than the former. Conquering the world, certainly fewer people have done the latter than the former. This is what you find when you study the true masters of any profession. They don't care much about winning, about money, about fame, about most of the things that have come their way as a result of their successes. Their journey has always been toward something bigger. They aren't running a race against the competition, they are in a battle with themselves. It means that you have to work, you have to fight for yourself. Like, anything you should be competing with should be yourself, like the last version of yourself, not another person. So self-discipline has never been about punishment or deprivation. It is about becoming the best you are capable of becoming. Most of the time when people hear about self-discipline, they think, oh my God, you want me to punish myself? Oh, you want me to deprive myself? So it's telling us that it is not about this punishment or deprivation. I'm going to mark this part. It is about becoming the best version of yourself, the best you are capable of becoming, because we are capable of becoming so much, but we don't know. We are capable of becoming so much, but we don't know. So the battle to be the best has less to do with beating others and more to do with beating down those urges, those flaws, those selfish instincts that every human has. Michael Jordan conquered his desire to quit in the famous flu game during the 1997 NBA Finals. But a greater finals moment came in 2021 when the Phoenix Suns coach Monty Williams, a man whose life has not gone easy on, entered the locker room of the newly crowned champions that had just beaten his team. I just wanted to come and congratulate you guys. As a man and coach, Williams stole the box. You guys deserved it. I'm thankful for the experience. You guys made me a better coach. You made us a better team. Congratulations. There was never enough for Pompey. Nothing scared, nothing sacred. His endless ambition, his insane love of glory, as Posidonius called it, would ally him with Caesar, setting in motion the destruction of the republic he once loved. He would wake up to his Faustian bargain eventually and fight valiantly to preserve Rome, but it would be too late. He would be defeated by Caesar's armies. At Pharsalos in a day, losing everything that he had acquired, and then shortly thereafter losing his life as well. His last word would quote another ancient playwright, Sophocles: "Whoever makes his journey to a tyrant's court becomes his slave, although he went there a free man." By chasing the wrong kind of best, that is fame, fortune, power, winning, Pompey had chained himself to the worst. It cost him everything, as it does for all of us. When we compromise, when we relax our discipline, when we make exceptions and do what is expedient instead of what we know is right, history is replete with great conquerors. There are far fewer generals who were great people, talented writers, and groundbreaking scientists, incredible athletes, bold entrepreneurs. All these types are rare. Rarer still, and all the more impressive, are those who manage to achieve those feats without losing control of themselves, without becoming slaves to their ambition, to their careers, to their urges. So now, who will you be? Who will you be? What race are you running? What are you trying to beat, and is it for the best? So this is a question they are leaving us with. Who will you be after all that we've talked about in this chapter? What race are you running? And me, who I want to be, and the race I'm running is the best version of myself. Somebody that shows up for people as well. I like the idea of showing up for people and just making sure that every investment in me is worth it. So for clients that are investing in me in the sense that they're paying me to do work for them, the goal is for it to be a worthy investment. For my community members on YouTube, people like you that join my live sessions, that watch my videos, the goal is for me to make your investment. Your investment to me is time. And the goal is for me to make it worth it by making sure that I'm giving you the best and also the honest truth of everything. And also being the best version of myself by, studying, preparing, and just coming out good enough. So that is the person I want to be. Let me know in the comment section who you want to be as well. And now we are entering another chapter. This chapter says flexibility is strength. Flexibility is strength. So the danger for Musashi was real. The danger for Musashi was real. Not the danger from the sword, or at least not that danger directly. Excuse me. Like anyone who trained intensely at something, Musashi was at risk of rigidity, of becoming trapped in a certain style, a certain approach. This is the natural byproduct of any kind of specialization. When you practice doing something a certain way 1,000 times and then 1,000 times again, this becomes the way you expect it to go, the way perhaps you need it to go. You follow your routine, you set up your system, you develop your style, and you find freedom in it. But also potentially slavery. As he approached true mastery, Musashi needed to break free of these self-imposed chains. He knew the potential cost, having beaten many of his most awesome opponents simply by disrupting their flow or throwing them off balance. By arriving late, by acting strangely, by choosing, in one case, to fight with a long wooden oar instead of a sword, to the complete befuddlement of the warrior trying to kill him. Would he become a prisoner of his method, or would he break through it and into what the great strategist Robert Greene generations later would describe as formlessness? Musashi chose the latter. He studied art and poetry. I want to do poetry. Oh my god. I want to go for a poetry class soon. Let's see if I can do it month end. I want to go for a poetry class. I want to do poetry. He studied art and poetry. He deliberately pushed himself out of his comfort zone. He refused to stop growing. He refused to lock himself into anything, reinventing, changing, constantly becoming a newer, better fighter as he aged. With weapons as with other things, he would write, "You should not make distinctions. It is wrong for either general or soldier to have a preference for one thing and to dislike another. When you put your life on the line, you want all your weapons to be of use," he said, or rather, you want to have as many weapons as possible. You know the expression, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That is a warning. It's about rigidity. It's about seeing yourself a certain way, seeing your job a certain way, and the limitations inherent therein. So this is telling us that we should not get used to just one particular thing. We should be open to a lot of things. Like, we should be flexible. I mean, the title says flexibility is strength. So learn to be flexible. Now, as I'm reading this thing, one thing I'm learning is, or one thing I want to implement is, so I cannot bathe with cold water. I do not bathe with cold water. Okay, let me not say I cannot, because if I try to get myself to, I should be able to. But I don't bathe with cold water. I only bathe with hot water. And that means that when I go to, in fact, that means that if I'm going to a place and they don't have hot water, I'm not going to go. Or if I have to go to that place and I can't find hot water, it means that I'm not going to bathe properly. I'm just going to just rush, and I will not enjoy my bath. So now I think I have to learn how to bathe with cold water. I have to be flexible so that I am not tied to the person I am that just uses hot water to bathe. Does it make sense? Lizzie, you see that I'm telling you that this thing is not just about work. It's about life generally as well. So now, you see where I'm taking it to. I'm taking it to the fact that I don't bathe with cold water. I only bathe with hot water. So I need to learn how to bathe with cold water. I need to be flexible. So a lot of times people say, oh, I'm not like that. This is the kind of person I am. So it's telling us that we should not be tied to one particular personality type. We should be flexible. Like, you have to be flexible. The man or the woman who is flexible is the one that wins, because it means that any place you find yourself, any position you find yourself, you will always succeed because you are very flexible, right? So the tricky thing, wait, let me even mark this actually. It's about seeing yourself a certain way, seeing your job a certain way, and limitations. Okay, no. Let me just leave it. But I think I already got what I wanted to get. Hi, Bosse. Thank you so much for joining. Hi. So the tricky thing is that this is partly what temperance is about. We hold certain things as sacred. We set up systems. We develop a style. We develop an identity, and then we stick to it. While everyone else is like a feather in the wind, we hold fast. Great, but that will not be enough. What makes Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time was one thing. It was another asset that contributed to his remarkable longevity. Please let me know if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me? Dog is barking, generator is on outside, so but let me know you can hear me in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me so that I can continue. Hi Chris, thank you so much for joining. Okay, so what makes Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time was one thing. It was another asset that contributed to his remarkable longevity, allowing him to add multiple championships to his haul well into 40s. All right, thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you. His commitment and hard work made him great early, but what allowed him to sustain his body is his pliability. Other players worked on getting stronger and bigger. Brady worked on flexibility. So he's limber, he's lighter, but his pliability is figurative too. He doesn't force things to be a certain way. He adjusts always to how the game is changing, to new rules, to new receivers, and to a new team in a new city with a new generation of athletes. I love this as well. When it's time to actually adjust, you need to make sure that you're adjusting and not saying, oh no, that's not how things are, or sticking to this is how I'm used to doing things. You have to adjust. I'm also learning this for myself as well. I'm usually set in stone is one thing. I don't like changing stuff, but I have to learn how to change stuff if I want to be flexible. Hi Chris, thank you. I'm fine. How are you doing? So now we are supposed to know how to change too. Yup. A colleague of Churchill once captured the balance perfectly when he observed that Churchill venerated tradition but ridiculed convention. The past was important, but it was not a prison. The old ways, what the Romans called the mos maiorum, were important but not to be mistaken as perfect. Think of Queen Elizabeth, a protector of a timeless institution who somehow never allowed herself to fall out of step with the times. That is what the Beatles were talking about when they sang Her Majesty's Pretty Nice Girl, but she changes from day to day. This would be the lesson the Los Angeles Rams learned losing the Super Bowl in 2019. They were too rigid and couldn't adapt. Coming back in 2022, Coach Sean McVay focused on relaxing, not overtraining, and getting to a place of stillness. This is basically just teaching us about adapting, like very important to adapt. And it is what she proved when she honored the Beatles with the MBE, member of the Order of the British Empire, in 1965. A move that was intensely unpopular with traditionalists at the time, but in retrospect, a very necessary step forward for the monarchy's involvement in British culture. Of course, some things like our principle cannot change, but everything else, we have to be strong enough to adjust and adapt, lest we end up angry, bitter, and impossible to work with. The college basketball coach Shaka Smart, upon moving from coaching at Texas to Market in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, was asked if he was a cold weather or warm weather guy. I'm dressed for the weather guy, he said. We must learn how to be flexible, to roll with the punches or the weather or the realities of the moment. Our discipline cannot ossify into a set approach as it so naturally is inclined to when it is working for us. It's not just success that does this to us, though anyone is susceptible, especially with age, to become set in their ways, even if those ways are not serving us well. Susan Cheever, writing about Storia, would paint a tragic picture. As he aged and had absolutely no success in his chosen field, as his world crumbled around him, she wrote, Storia seemed to become more and more rigid. All he had were his principles. Instead of believing in them, he seemed to be ruled by them. It was the definition of insanity. What wasn't working, he stuck to, trapped in an emotional and artistic ghetto of his own making. You know that thing they say that insanity is doing same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Yeah, that is what they're talking about. So it calls to mind a warning that a trainer once gave to Muhammad Ali, whose forceful will made him stand tall always. An oak tree stands tall too, the trainer told him, but you have to bend and sway or be knocked down. Oak makes good coffins too, he reminded Ali. Plenty of people have been buried in coffins of their own making before their time because they couldn't understand that the way they had always done things wasn't working anymore, or that the way they were raised wasn't acceptable anymore. This, I'm gonna draw it. So it is not like the way you do things before that used to work. I think that is one thing too. I'm learning so much from this book because it applies to me. Like, I'm usually like, oh, this is how I do things, this is how I've been doing it, that has been working. Sometimes it calls for change because it may not be working anymore. So once it's not working anymore, instead of continuing because, oh, this is how you've been doing things, just change. And that's one thing I learned from one of my bosses, one of my clients. He is very quick to change things. Like, if it's not working anymore, even if it's something that has worked before, he just changes. So that's one thing I want to learn as well. So we must cultivate the capacity for change, for flexibility and adaptability, continuously, constantly changing the little things day to day, as the Queen did, to preserve and protect the big things. It's not always fun, it's not always easy. But what's the alternative? Dying? Self-control is not a life sentence, it's a way of living. Having self-control is not a life sentence, it's a way of living. Flexibility doesn't mean we throw out what is important, but it does mean understanding how to live and let live, how to rest comfortably in our traditions while allowing new and improved ones to be created. It also means as the world changes and our positions within it changes, adjusting, finding a way to be true to our principles that doesn't condemn us to bitterness or needless failure or being on the outside of things. Rigidity is fragility. Formlessness is unbreakable. We can choose one or the other. And we have gotten to another chapter. So this is the 5th chapter. All right. This chapter is titled Unchanged by Success. On the night the Berlin Wall fell, Angela Merkel had one beer and then went home. The crowd surged in an almost orgiastic frenzy of relief and excitement. She went to bed early. She had something she wanted to work on the following day. Even after she was elected chancellor, a stunning rise to one of the most important offices in Europe, she continued to live in the same ordinary rent-controlled apartment that she's been in for 23 years. When she attends concerts at the Philharmonic, she sits in regular seats, which she insists on paying for. Alongside the rest of the audience, she's been known to child aides. She's been known to child aides she knows are laughing too hard at her jokes, and Berliners have long become accustomed to seeing the former leader of the free world shopping for her own groceries at the store. A journalist once asked Merkel if it bothered her, after all she accomplished, that people in her hometown still refer to her as the pastor's daughter. That's who I am, she replied. No matter what changes in her life, that still remains true. The same went for Cato the Elder, whose early austerity made him stand out against Rome's decadent leader. What was even more remarkable, Plutarch wrote, was that he followed the same habit not merely when he was young and full of ambition, but even when he was old and grey-headed and had served as a consul and celebrated a triumph, and that he continued like a champion athlete to observe the rules of his training to the end. Such is the paradox of success. Precisely when we think we've earned the right to relax our discipline is exactly what we needed the most. Is exactly when we needed the most. The payoff for all our efforts, so much more temptation, so many more distractions, so many more opportunities. The only solution, even more self-mastery. Achieving things is great. Becoming a selfish jerk because you accomplished them, thinking you are suddenly better or matter more than anyone else. Come on. What impressed Plutarch about Cato and impresses us about Merkel is that they didn't use their power or position to purchase what so many people do, ego, or exemptions from the rules. One of the most moving photos of the funeral for Prince Philip is of tiny Queen Elizabeth, nearly 95 years old, sitting entirely alone in St. George's Chapel in mid-2021. Of course, the royal family had been offered the opportunity to invite more people to the funeral. It was a kindness that the Queen immediately declined on the grounds that it would be unfair to the Commonwealth, who had observed and respected the safety of protocols during the pandemic. After a lifetime of respecting protocol, she wasn't about to make an exception. She might have been able to escape the consequences, but not the dishonor. Yes, it meant she had to spend one of the toughest days of her life alone, and yet she was not unaided in this. Duty stiffened her spine. Discipline helped her through it. More, her monkish devotion elevated her. Lift me up and haul me wherever you will, Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations. My spirit will be gracious to me, dear, gracious and satisfied. He meant this not just because he was a good friend to himself, but because the result of his moderation and self-control was resilience. The gift of his strictness, of his self-containment, was tranquility. Amid both success and adversity, this is something we can all have when we stop caring what other people say or do. Only what we do. When we focus only on heading straight for the finish line, on swerving, when we focus only on heading straight for the finish line on swerving. So it went for Merkel when she took the controversial step of allowing 1 million refugees into Germany. the most of any country in Europe during the Syrian crisis. She could have ignored the growing humanitarian nightmare. She could have made it some other leaders' problem. She could have played it small, thinking only of her electoral chances at home, as most successful politicians do. Instead, she approached it as a pastor's daughter, the person she was raised to be, not the politician she had become. She approached it as a human being. She did what she thought was right. She wasn't afraid. She didn't care if she was criticized. The only part of her that had been changed by her success was her ability to direct world events, and that power she seized. It's easy to be modest when you have much to be modest about, but now you are in a position to indulge your passions. It's easy to follow the rules when you are not above rules. Now people will make excuses for you. Now it really is about self-discipline, because all the other forms have gone away. So this is telling us that most of the times it is easy to be humble, or it is easy to do things because we don't have so much. But when we have so much, when we've been elevated to a place of status, when we have gotten to our desired states, we have to also be humble. We have to also practice self-discipline and self-control, right? It's the height of our powers that we need the clearest mind. We can't be blinded by substance or a sense of superiority. People of humble station have more leeway when it comes to using force, bringing suits, rushing into quarrels, and indulging their anger. Seneca wrote, "For blows traded by equal do little harm, but for a king, even raising his voice to use intemperate language is at odds with his majesty." Self-mastery is one of those things that demands more of itself, while not necessarily begetting more of itself at the same time. Not only does self-mastery not make itself any easier to achieve, but the rewards of it are a million seductive reasons and dollar to let up. But you are going to show them that you are better and bigger than that your victory was not a fluke, but that you deserved it and have what it takes to build and maintain it. You will concentrate your mind on what counts. You will not be inflated by the changes in your fortune. You will show that success has not changed you, except that it has made you better. I love this. Self-mastery is another thing I want to learn. I have the book by Robert Greene, Mastery. I can't wait for when I'll start reading that book, because my goal is to conquer self. Honestly, my goal is to conquer myself, understand myself to the T, and be able to. All right, we are now in a new chapter, guys. This is the 6th chapter. We are so fast. We're so fast. All right, the title of this chapter is "Discipline is Virtue. Virtue is Self-Discipline." Please let me know if you are still following, if you are getting anything at all, if you are understanding anything, if you are noting some things that you will be applying to yourself, to your life, your business, your work, your family, and everything. Let me know. All right, this chapter, self-discipline is virtue. Virtue is self-discipline. So the virtues are like music. They vibrate at a higher, nobler pitch. This is a quote by Stephen Pressfield. In the beginning, Goethe opens with "play first" was the word. Then he corrects himself. No, in the beginning there was the deed. This has been a book about self-discipline, the second in a series about the cardinal virtues. Here at the end of it is what's pointing out what don't matter, deeds do. So this is everything we've been reading doesn't matter until we actually do it. So nothing proves this more, in fact, than the relationship between temperance and the other 3 virtues of courage, justice, and wisdom. These things are impossible, worthless even, without self-discipline to bring them about. Nearly every single out of the American founders, from Washington to Franklin to Adams and Henry, made some versions of the argument that their novel system of government was impossible without virtue in the people. Mainly, they were talking about the virtue of temperance, the idea that freedom could not be sustained unless tempered by private restraint. Indeed, a people without self-control, Adam said, would break the strongest cords of our constitution as a whale goes through a net. We can fight courageously for our rights, for the power to be our own masters, as we are entitled to be. But that means ultimately we have to be responsible for ourselves. Because if we are not, someone or something else must be. You have to be responsible for yourself, because if you are not, something will be. So it's either you're taking charge of yourself or something else is taking charge of you, whether you know it or not. As long as you're not taking charge of yourself, something is going to be taking charge of you. Let me mark this. Where is it? Okay, so we have to be responsible for ourselves, because if we are not, someone or something else must be, because we can't be left without being responsible for. See how far you get without self-discipline, how long your success lasts, how quickly any virtue can become a vice if taken too far, including courage, justice, and even wisdom. Self-discipline is the only way. It's the moderating influence against the impulse of all other things. Supplement courage with self-control, Cicero wrote, and then every ingredient for the happy life is yours. For you will have courage as your defense against distress and fear, and self-control to liberate you from sensuality and keep you free of immoderate cravings. Talking about virtue is easy. It's flowed well onto these pages, buttressed by centuries of poetry and literature and memories. But the purpose of writing this book and the hours we spent reading it was not mere entertainment. That's what philosophy is about. Okay, Lisa say, I want to conquer my desires to unveil my higher self. Perfect, I love that. So we are here trying to actually get better, trying to answer our own call, to make that Herculean choice ourselves, today, tomorrow, at every moment. What good will my virtue be if it exists only on paper? What good with your virtue, the virtue you claim you have, the good character you claim you have, what good will it be if it exists only on paper or only in your mind? That's what it's saying. What's the point if you don't have the courage to live it, to stand alone with it, to insist on it, even with so many rewards accruing to a life moving in the opposite direction? Sure, there is a relationship between study and practice, but at some point the rubber meets the road. We contemplate truth and then we have to act on it. The 4 virtues are about instilling character, good character, so that at the critical point a person's true nature kicks in. Self-discipline is not something that just happens to you. It is something you cultivate. So now that we're talking about it, it is telling us that it is something we have to cultivate. Over time, it becomes a part of us, so it becomes like a character. Just as a writer only becomes one by writing, and a great writer by writing that which is worth reading, being disciplined is something you prove by the life you lead. Oh, I love this. So it says, how do you know a great writer, or how do you say somebody is a great writer? They become a great writer by writing. If you say you want to become a reader, you become a reader by reading, right? So that means if you say you want to become somebody that has great discipline, it means that you become somebody that has great discipline by actually living the life of discipline, right? Okay, Lisa says, discipline is something I struggle with. I will start doing something, but keeping motivated to continue is where I struggle. But I realize that no one is coming to save me. I need to be responsible for what I want to achieve and make myself trust me to show up for myself. Yeah, exactly. And another thing is, the mistake we have is once we faulted, we just give up from there. But no, you continue. Take for example, Lisa, you know, from the very first time we started our live sessions, we had said that the live sessions was going to be for 10 a.m., right? And there have been times when I couldn't start at 10 a.m. So I would have considered it as failure, that I'm not starting at 10 a.m. or something happened. But I showed up regardless. So that's what I want to let you know. If, let's say, you committed that you are going to, you're going to say exercise every day, or better still, drink water every day, and yesterday, and you wake up today, you forgot to drink water. If you remember at night, drink the water. In fact, if maybe you remember 2 days later, drink if you remember 2 days later, drink the water, resume. When you remember these things, resume, instead of just giving up and say, oh, you have messed things up and you can't continue. So that is the thing that we need to learn here, right? And then, like you said, nobody's coming to save you, so you have to show up for yourself. You have to show up. You have to be a good friend, just the way you're a good mother to your kids, right, Lisa? If you think you're a good mother to your kids, be a good mother to yourself. If you think you're a good friend to people, be a good friend to yourself as well. If you think you're a good partner to people, to your partner, be a good partner to yourself as well. Okay? So the people we have followed so far, from Lou Gehrig to Marcus to Queen Elizabeth, George Washington, Martha Graham, Harry, Joyce, Booker, Floyd, they were not perfect. At times, they exhibited the exact opposite of the virtues we are studying, and that must be noted. Still, it cannot be denied that at key critical moments, their character kicked in and they did something profoundly great. So it is telling us that all the people we've learned about, one thing I like about this book, right, it's so obvious that it was properly researched, because it talked about so many people from the past, great people from the past, and it's also led with a story, like story that you can go and fact check. So as much as it has talked about these people that have amazing lives, it's telling you that even though, yes, they have such amazing lives that we admire, such that they wrote about it, they also had their time when they messed up. So it doesn't mean that you have to do things 100% all the time. There are going to be times you mess up. There are going to be times. It's normal. That's why you're human beings, right? You're a human being. So, but the goal, what self-discipline, self-control is when you notice that you have messed up, instead of sitting in that mess up or staying in that mess up for long, you stand up and do the thing you're supposed to do. You get up, right? Right. So at times they exhibited the exact opposite of the virtues we are studying, and that must be noted. Still, it cannot be denied that at key critical moments, their character kicked in and they did something profoundly great. Not just then for the people they helped or the cause they furthered, but also today for us in the inspiration their achievements provide. It wasn't their words that mattered, it was what they did because of what they were, or because of who they were. That's what Lincoln expressed at Gettysburg. It doesn't matter what we say here, it matters what they did here. Whether Lou Gehrig, the pride of the Yankees, or Marcus Aurelius, struggling to live up to his destiny. An example of Antoninus or Queen Elizabeth struggling under similar pressure some 20 centuries later, or Floyd Peterson trying to claw back his title, or Beethoven crawling back from the brink of suicide. Their self-discipline, their temperament, their endurance calls down to us. Their virtue shines. We cannot consecrate it. It stands eternal on its own. There is only one way we can honor it, by adding to it our own deeds, by picking up their finished work. We must continue the tradition we are now a part of, whether we know it or not. It begins by polishing your own value, not with virtue. It begins by polishing our own virtue, not with virtue signaling, but with virtuous living. We can learn about virtue all we want, but when we get to the crossroad, there we will have to make a choice. We can learn about virtue all we want, but when we get to the crossroads, there we will have to make a choice. We open this book with the Bible and with John Steinbach. Let us close by bringing them together in East of Eden. Steinbach concludes that the most powerful phrase in Christianity is Timshel. When we read the commandments translated into English, they are rendered as just that, commandments. But Steinbach thinks the Hebrew rendering is more accurate, not thou shalt, but thou mayest. Here is individual responsibility and the invention of conscience. He reflected to his editor as he wrote those pages. You can if you will, but it is up to you. You can if you will, but it is up to you. This little story turns out to be one of the most profound in the world. I always felt it was, but now I know it is. Whether it's from the Bible or from Hercules or East of Garden or Faust, the parable's message is the same. We have a choice. We choose between self-control and ill discipline, virtue and vice. Self-control must be observed physically. It must be embodied mentally. It must be rendered magisterially. When our moment comes, it's our decision. What this will look like, not just once, but 1,000 times in life. Not just in the past and the future, but right now, today. What will it be? Dependence or independence? Greatness or ruin? Discipline is destiny. It decides. Will you choose it? We're done with the book. Yeah, this is just afterward. His message. Maybe we should read. Maybe we should read the afterword. So the afterword, that is what he wrote after it. 2 years into writing this book, I hit a wall. To meet the aggressive deadline set by my publisher, I knew what the writing would need to begin. I knew that the writing would need to begin in early June. But as I sat in my office, looking through my piles of material that seemed almost impossible, almost always by the time I sit down to type, the first sentence of a book, I know exactly what I am going to say on every page. Like inspiration, winging it is for amateurs. A pro has a plan. Yes, terrifyingly, I did not have one. Of course, I knew the broad scope of the book, but too much was uncertain. Structure, characters, examples, all of it was beyond me. And how would I possibly make something as unsexy as temperance interesting to the reader? I did not know. Once I began to question whether I would know. There is no other word than despair for what I was feeling. Doubt. One always has that. Dread. There's always a little bit of that before someone tries something difficult. This was deeper. No, this was a crisis of confidence, that I had the wrong topic. I didn't have the material and my moment had abandoned me. So there I was contemplating whether to call my publisher and ask for a delay. I was also tired, just so tired. Coming up with the idea for a book is a creative pursuit. Actually, creating the book is a work of excruciating manual labor. Sitting in a chair, grinding out each consecutive sentence, a process not measured in hours or days, but months and years. It's a marathon of endurance, cognitive and physical. For me, in the last decade, I have run not just a couple of these marathons, but 12 of them, back to back to back. That's roughly 2.5 million words across titles I've published, articles I've written, and the daily emails that I produced in the same period. And on this book, the halfway mark in my series on the 4 virtues, it strikes me that we are well into the 3rd calendar year of a destabilizing, devastating global pandemic, which I began with 2 children under 4. I'm sitting here in a 19th century historic building above a bookstore, which I also started and opened during the same rolling, uncertain period. This morning, like all mornings, I was up at 7, working with the kids as we inspected the fences on the cattle ranch where we live. I considered I could do a better job of keeping the main thing the main thing. It was as if all this was catching up to me when I could at least afford it. I'm not someone inclined to believe in divine intervention, but I needed help. On a sweltering hot day in Texas, I was sitting at my workroom table, going through boxes that contained thousands of note cards of research. As a whole, they overwhelmed me. What they contained, the way they might fit together to produce a book, seemed impossible to comprehend. I reached out and grabbed one. It had just 24 words, scrawled in red Sharpie. When was it written? Where had I written it? What had prompted me? All I know is what it said. Trust the process. Keep doing my cards when I check them in June. If I have done my work, there will be a book there. It wasn't exactly a miracle, but defying space and time, I had traveled from the past into the future to deliver a reminder of self-discipline. And guess what? It saved me. Not from the work, of course, but from myself, from giving up, from abandoning the system and process that has served me so well on all those books and articles and emails. In one of the best passages in Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, almost certainly in the depths of some personal crisis of faith, reminds himself to love the discipline you know, and let it support you. Love the discipline you know and let it support you. So it means that even if we've talked about discipline so far and we want to
become a disciplined person. It's not all the time that we will be disciplined. So allow the discipline to support you and help you to be disciplined. So that's what my notes said to me. So I listened. I began showing up at the office earlier each day to work with my material. Card after card, I sorted them into tiny little piles, looking for connections, for threads I could follow, for the key that would unlock the book. Instead of worrying, I used the calm and mild light of the philosophy I have written about in my books. I went for long walks when I got stuck. I tried to follow my routine. I turned out distractions. I focused. I also sat just there and thought. I trusted the process. I loved the discipline I knew. I let it support me. I'd love to be able to tell you that shortly after this, the book just clicked. And that's not how writing or life works. What actually happened was slower, more iterative, but also in the end, just as transformative. As I walked that long hallway of despair, light began to creep in. Garrick stepped forward from the shadows, after nearly 4,000 pages of biographies. Queen Elizabeth entered as a portrait of temperament. One character after another, slowly, painstakingly, chapter by chapter, became discernible. The book was there, as my notes promised me. Now I had to write it. One good thing about the pandemic is that it was kind of forced lifestyle. It was a kind of forced lifestyle experiment, a chance to refine and improve my daily writing routine. As the days blurred together and the previously infinite opportunities of ordinary life disappeared, all that was left was the day. All that remained were the words I had to write. I would wake up early and dress the children. I would strap them in the stroller and walk or run as the sun came up and my wife caught up on much needed sleep. We counted the deer lounging in the fields and watched the rabbits dart across the path. We talked and we noticed things. We enjoyed one another's company, fully, completely, with no interruptions. My rule has long been that I don't check my phone for the first hour of the morning. It's not just about managing screen time, but making room for moments like that and for the ideas that would magically pop in my head, like Beethoven's Raptus, when work was the last thing I was thinking of. When we got back to the house, I would set the kids up to play and take a shower. I work for myself, but it's important to feel as opposed to look fresh, so I shave each morning. My work means too much to me to show up like a slob. So I put on a simple set of clothes, roughly the same thing each day to reduce unnecessary choice, and then sit down with my journals. Whether it takes 5 minutes or 25, it centers me. And if Frank wrote in her own journal, the paper that paper is more patient than people. She was right. One of the best things to temper difficult emotions is to do it on the page and to leave it there. After the journaling, then it was time to work. The most important, hardest things first. I would pull up to my office at the bookstore, set my stuff down and write. No delays, no procrastination, no digital distractions, just writing. Sometime during those tough early days of the book, I put a note card up on my wall, write with a quote from Martha Graham. Never be afraid of material. The material knows when you are frightened and will not help. Discipline is pointless without courage. And of course, the defining characteristics of courage is self-discipline. Sling yourself for what must be done. While a book requires many hours of work, these hours come in rather small increments. If I get to the office at 8:30, I could be done writing by 11. Just a couple hours is all it takes. Just a couple crappy pages a day. As one old writing rule puts it, the discipline of writing is about showing up. So the discipline of anything, honestly, is about showing up. I need to mark this. So this is him telling us about how he wrote the book. Where was that? Yeah, the discipline of writing is about showing up. He said about how he wrote the book, how he was stressed about writing the book. Imagine this amazing book that I love so much that has made me falling in love with him. He's talking about how it was so hard for him to actually write the book. So the discipline of writing is about showing up. The season changed. World events raged and spawned as they always do. Opportunities, distractions, temptations, they did what they do too. Popping up, pinging, nagging, seducing day after day. I kept after it. To the right of my computer monitor, between two photos of my boys, is a picture given to me by the sports psychologist Jonathan Feder. It's the famed Dr. Dr. Oliver Sacks, and behind him is a large sign he kept in his office that just said no. By saying no to interviews, to meetings, to can I pick your brain for a minute, I was saying yes to what matters: my family, my work, my sanity. So this means that you have to say no to a lot of things that do not matter. Pick what your priorities are and say yes only to those things that are priority. And work is more than just writing. There's always business to do and problems to solve. In the afternoon, I schedule my phone calls and interviews. I edit, read, record podcasts for Daily Stoic and Daily Dad. Also, he has Daily Stoic. I'm going to go and find that thing. I didn't know that he has a podcast. I'm going to find the podcast. If you like his writing as well and you want to learn more about him, I think he has a podcast called Daily Stoic. Yeah. So I did read, record podcasts for Daily Stoic and Daily Dad. I work on projects for the bookstore and my other businesses. Still, no matter how busy the day, I am home for dinner each night, and ideally in time to get lost in play with the kids before dinner too. In the evenings, we go for a walk again, and then I put the kids to bed. To me, nothing has required and strengthened my discipline more than having kids. I try to think about how hard it is to be little, especially in these uncertain times. I try to remember that rushing through things, whether it's bedtime or the drive to school, means rushing through time we have together, time we will never have again. If I catch myself when I get frustrated or provoked. The kids are just tired, they are hungry, they don't know how to communicate. As we lay in bed together, I say to myself, this is wonderful, nothing is better than this. It struck me in 2021 as I got on a plane for the first time in 18 months that I had 500 consecutive nights at home. No wonder I had been so productive. No wonder I was so happy, as difficult as things were. For myself and for my kids, I try to stay disciplined in all facets of my life. I eat healthy, usually fasting about 16 hours a day. Aware of my tendency to do things compulsively, I don't drink or smoke or take recreational drugs of any kind. Avoid the steady drumbeat of the increasingly negative news media, trying to remain positive and to keep up the good fight in a broken world. I keep my ego in check and, to the best of my ability, my temper too. I do my best to be a good husband and supportive spouse. I get my sleep, I keep my desk clean or cleanish. I eliminate inessential tasks and delegate the ones that others can do. During the writing of this book, I had lunch with Manu, the 4-time NBA champion, an all-star and an Olympic gold medalist, and as it happens, one of the players whom Greg rested in that controversial game back in 2012. Although champions like Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods are indisputably great, I am much more impressed with world-class performers who find a way to live balanced and decent personal lives. I am very impressed with high performance, actually. I am so impressed with high performance. I think that's why I like this guy, and I'm going to go and follow him on social media. As we sat on the back porch, I told Manu about some of my struggles, and he told me the story of the 2013 NBA Finals. With 5 seconds left in Game 6, the Spurs had a 3-point lead, and Manu went up for the rebound that would close out the series. He was just barely outjumped by the much taller Chris Bosh, who passed the ball to Ray Allen, who sent the game into overtime with a clutch 3. On the final play of overtime, the Spurs down by 1. The ball was back in Manu's hand, and as he drove to the basket, it was his moment, his shot, and it was not to be. The ball was stripped away, the Heat won. The series went on to a Game 7, which the Heat won. He told me that before that, he had always taken losses hard, but after this one, his house felt like a funeral. It was filled with grief and anger and pain and despair. It was like Floyd Peterson after losing the belt. He couldn't eat or think. He was miserable. There are a couple of ways to go from that: bitterness, regret, resignation. You could train harder, become more driven, take winning even more seriously. Instead, a thought struck him as he moped and ruminated. I just played in the NBA Finals, he said to himself. How am I not having any fun? The following year, the Spurs were back. Following the devastating Game 7 loss, he and the Spurs came back to beat the Heat in just 5 games to win to win his 4th NBA championship and the team's 5th. But the biggest feat was how he changed his relationship to the game, to winning and losing. It wasn't anger or revenge that was driving him, it was actually enjoying himself. He became more balanced, more in control of his emotions, he was more present, he had more fun, he was a better father and husband and teammate as a result. Manu played 5 more NBA seasons after that heartbreaking loss, 16 seasons in all, retiring as the Spurs all-time leader in 3-pointers and steals. He was 3rd in games played, 4th in assists, and 5th in points. In 2019, the Spurs retired Manu's number 20 jersey. He's now in the Hall of Fame. Amazing. This too is what temperance is about. When we say that self-discipline saves us, part of what it saves us from is ourselves. Sometimes that's from our laziness or our weakness. Just as often, it's from our ambitions, from our excesses, from our impulse to be too hard on others and ourselves. It makes us not just great at what we do, but best in that fuller sense of the word. Aristotle, who wrote so much on the topic, reminded us that the point of virtue wasn't power or fame or money or success, it was human flourishing. The point of virtue wasn't power or fame or money or success, it was human flourishing. What is more important than that? As I struggled to write this book, I tried my best to improve in another area of my life, how my work and self-discipline manifests itself at home. Several years ago, after I sold a project, my editor called my wife, in part to congratulate us, but also to apologize. She knew what this meant for my wife, what it would do to me, who I became in the dark depths of writing a book. However, this book does, even if it makes a difference for a lot of people, what I am proudest of is who I was while I wrote it. There were fewer apologies necessary, even when it felt like it might not come together. Even the moments when I felt like I might need to delay the book, I remember thinking, and so what? Sometimes things have to be delayed. Festina lengthy. As hard as the book can be to start, and end stages are the end stages are toughest. It's usually a scramble, deadlines loom, and a million problems appear. It's not always been my finest hour, but then as I walked from home on the final pages of this book, my 5-year-old looked up from his art project and said, "I'm sorry you lost your job writing books, Dad." Apparently, things had been so much less crazy and my boundaries had been so much better that he thought I had been forced into early retirement. A less disciplined me, a younger me, I would have been wrecked by the stress of an even less stressful book. I would have acted out, I would have been consumed, I would have carried it home. There was no calm and mild light for me when it came to my work. I was all ambition and drive. And when something got in the way, indomitable and aggressive, it helped me accomplish things. It also made me unhappy. It would not have served me well on this project. Worse than... They brought light. It would not have served me well on this project. Worse than that, it would have made me a hypocrite. So yes, as I finish here, I'm still tired. I'm so tired. I feel so wonderful. Life is for the living. We are meant to be up and doing. Life is for the living. Gosh, these are like reminders of things we already know, but we are not paying attention to. Do you get? Life is for the living. We are meant to be up and doing. If books came naturally without effort, everyone would write them. Oh, this is one of the things I learned recently that sort of, I would say, justifies hard things for me. If things were easy, a lot of people will be doing them and it will not be anything special. So things that are hard are special because they are hard. Do you get? If books came naturally without effort, everyone would write them. And for books, you can plug in whatever it is that you do. It's good that it is hard. So anything you are doing that is hard, it is good that it is hard. because it is unique and special. It's good that it can be discouraging. It's good that it breaks your heart, kicks your ass, messes with your head, but it can also be done with balance. It can also be done with balance, with sustainability, and most of all with temperance. That's what separates the discipline from the undisciplined, the weak from the strong, the amateurs from the pros. Nobody ever said destiny was going to be easy. Would it be worth it if anything was easy? It's not be worth it, and it's not be special if it was easy. So yeah, that is everything. What we have here is what to read next. So he's just recommending other things we should read that he has. So for most people, bibliographies are boring. For those who love to read, is the best part. In the case of this book, which relied on so many wonderful authors and thinkers, I could not possibly fit the entire bibliography in the book. Instead, I've prepared a full list, not only of all the great books that influenced the ideas you just read, but also what I got out of them and why you might like to read them. To get this list, please just email books@disciplineisdestiny.com or go to disciplineisdestiny.com/books. I'll also send you a list of some great quotes about courage. Can I even get more book recommendations? Yes, you can sign up for my list of monthly book recommendations, now in its second decade. So he actually recommends books. He has a place where he recommends books, and he also has his own books that he recommends for you. If you want to read, there's Obstacle is the Way, there's Ego is the Enemy, Stillness is the Key, the Daily Stoic, Lives of the Stoics, Daily Dad, Discipline is Destiny, Courage is Calling. So we have just finished reading Discipline is Destiny. I have Ego is the Enemy that I will read. Let me show you. I have Ego is the Enemy that I'll read. After Ego is the Enemy, I'll most likely read The Obstacle is the Way and Courage is Calling. Alright guys, so we are done with our book. We are done with our book. I'm so excited. Thank you for coming on this reading journey with me. I can't wait to start The Ego is the Enemy. Like, I'm so excited about what the book will do. But I hope you learned as much as I do. Or I hope you learned as much as I did. I hope that this book, the parts we've read, is going to inspire you to read more, and also the things that we've learned from the book, I hope we are going to be able to apply it. So yeah, this is it for now. We are going to be meeting tomorrow by 4 p.m. WAT, our Saturday school. And please, if you've not done your assignments for last week, please finish your assignment though, because I'm going to ask you these questions. So finish your assignments and make sure that you invite at least one person to Saturday school tomorrow so that they will come and learn. We are talking about something that applies to everybody, not just remote workers, everybody. As long as you are working, as long as you are trying to do something for yourself, as long as you are trying to be the best version of yourself, you are going to learn from it, because we are going to be talking about how to teach yourself anything with AI. So please feel free to join and also invite people. Let's have a lot of people live on the call. I think last week we had over 30 people and over 100 and something views. Tomorrow let's have over 100 people if possible. Okay, all right guys, thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining. Lisa, Lizzie, you both have my heart. Thank you so much. And that will be all for me. I need to now go and officially start my day and get a little bit of work done. All right, bye guys. I will see you tomorrow by 4 p.m. West African time.